Let's get more reaction then to the U.S. elections. We now cross to our reporter, Kaelihle Khumalo, who is in Sandton for us. Of course, Kaelihle, as we continue to hear from both South Africans and Americans living in the country, what can you tell us about what you're hearing?
Well, absolutely, Unati. So there's a great deal of interest in these elections, especially given the very important ties between South Africa and the United States of America. I mean, there's quite a lot in terms of the issues around the economic interest, the American companies based in South Africa, but also just the role of South Africa in the African continent, whether you're looking at instruments like AGOA, but also looking at the fight against terrorism as well, and many other issues as well. So joining us now is, of course, Charles Belk, of course, from the Democrats right here in South Africa. So I'm going to start by saying to you, Charles, obviously this is a very pivotal moment for America. The entire world is watching. So far, what are the reactions? I mean, you're far away from home. What are you getting from them?
I think the people over here in South Africa, I'm part of Democrats Abroad South Africa, and people are on pins and needles. They don't know, polls are up, polls are down. All I can say is I felt that we put our best foot forward. We've been campaigning hard in the U.S. We've been campaigning hard in South Africa. We've been campaigning hard around the world. And, we've done all we can. And now hopefully the American people, including the people abroad, will do all they can to elect the right candidate for a president.
Charles, let's talk about the issues at stake. I mean, for example, when you talk about what the Democratic presidential nominee has been talking about, or the candidate, is issues, for example, around the rights for abortion and issues around inflation, issues around the economic interests. I mean, these are bread and butter issues. What else? I mean, I'm sure it's quite a litany of issues.
It is a list, but I think you have hit the high flyers. If you listen to the Republican part, they want to say that it's immigration. I don't think the average American is concerned about immigration. What we are concerned about as Americans, definitely the right to choose, whether that's the right as women to choose, whether they want to keep a baby or not, because there's all sorts of circumstances. It might be the right to free choice from the LGBTQ community. It might be the right to vote for black folks, because we didn't always have that right. And so I think that Democrats, Kamala Harris, will keep those rights in place to make sure that the American people are getting what they deserve.
Charles, these elections are fairly complex. I mean, we talk about the electoral college system, you talk about the key swing states from Arizona, Michigan, Georgia, and many others as well. How can you just break it down for people to understand, just in terms of the time, never mind the time difference and many other factors, but what would be the key indicators for you guys down here in the southern tip of Africa?
So I think that, the get out the vote effort has been tremendous. And people, we've had millions of folks already that have voted because we have early voting in the U.S. And things are looking good. I think Kamala Harris will definitely win the popular vote. The key, though, is the electoral college vote. And you have key states that, are neither blue nor red and can change on a given year. Those are the Ohio, the Michigans, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Arizona, Georgia, Nevada. And there's been a lot of effort. And so right now it's looking kind of 50-50. So we'll just see. We're just going to see what's going to happen tonight. There's been a lot of effort in those states. And we're excited here in South Africa about what's going on our part, what's going on in the U.S. for our candidate.
Maybe just before I let you go, Charles, a key question is for the Americans based in South Africa or the African continent, what role do they want to see America playing in terms of issues around their partnership pertaining to economic ties, cultural ties, and many other spheres as well?
I'm part of several WhatsApp groups that deal with in Africa, whether it's Kenya, Ghana, here in South Africa. And I know that Americans, as well as a lot of other folks, want to see America much more involved in Africa. Kamala Harris actually came to Africa, did several countries in last year and this year. Joe Biden's scheduled to go to Angola in December. Donald Trump never came to Africa, and he's had some bad things to say about the continent. And I think that Kamala Harris appreciates the continent and will hopefully, I can't speak on policy, but hopefully we over here in Africa definitely want to see more involvement by our country on the continent.
All right. Thank you so much indeed. Of course, Unathi, that's Charles really just speaking to us from the point of view of an American right here in South Africa. But as you know, that South Africa is a very key country. I mean, you look at the issue around the G20 presidency in 2025, but obviously officially taking over from the 1st of December. And in 2026, United States of America will be taking from South Africa. So there's a great deal of interest, but also just the role of the US in terms of the global economy. For example, how the dollar is used in terms of the global economy. So there's quite really a lot at stake. But we'll continue really to gauge as many views as possible, as you heard from Charles, predominantly from a viewpoint of the Democrats. So during the course of the day, we're hoping to get Republicans as well, and many other Americans who are right here in South Africa. So with that, back to you in studio.